Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Dev's Kingdom. This is Jacob. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to run DeepSeek R1 with Aider on Kaggle GPU for free. And that being said, let's get started. So we're gonna use the Aider's OpenAI compatible APIs. So we're gonna set this up later in the video. But first, let's create a Kaggle notebook. So in order to use DeepSeek R1 on Kaggle for free, first we have to install VLLM. So VLLM is a state-of-art inferencing service. So we're going to use VLLM for distributed inferencing. So we have another tutorial to show you how to install VLLM. But in this video, we're going to go through that again, and hopefully that helps. So first, you have to install these transformers, diffusers, and accelerate packages from Hugging Face. Okay, and then after that, you have to also do a pip install for Torch Vision, Torch Audio from the CUDA 12.1 repo. Then make sure you also do a environment variable export. So using this VLM version, you can use the 066 post 1. So this is a second latest release. So the latest one would be 7.0, so 7.0. So the secondary latest would be the 6.6. So use the second one, it should work. And you can use the latest, but in this tutorial, I'm going to use the 0.6.6. Then you have to also export CUDA version to CUDA 12.1. Then also make sure you set this NCCL P2P disable. Make sure that's set to true. Then check those variables are set correctly. After that, you can install VLLM. And also make sure these variables are passing correctly. Then you can check the VLLM version. And also have to uninstall the PyNVML and also install NVIDIA MLPY. So make sure those are set. Then make sure Triton is also installed. So that's it. Then you have to install ngrok to turn everything out to the public URL, as you see in here. So we're spinning up this public URL and from the ngrok. So then you have to install PyNgrok and ngrok. Then make sure you paste your ngrok token from your ngrok console, and also make sure you point your public URL, which is the one we just saw, to localhost 80. So the 80 port is from Nginx. So we use Nginx to do the reverse proxy routing. So make sure that's set. So then you have to install Nginx. After that, you have to config Nginx for VLLM service. So you use the Nginx port 80 to point to the 8000, which is where the VLLM is going to run. So, and that's all you have to set. Then you have to do a Nginx stop, Nginx start. Then you can check the Nginx status. After that, you can start the VLLM. So we're going to use this DeepSeek AI's offshore repos distilled model. It's DeepSeek R1 distill Q1 7B. So this is the model, and it's from the DeepSeek's offshore repo and has about 15 to 16 gigs. So the model is fairly large, not very large, but fairly large. So, but it works with these distributed inferencing, right, on Kaggle. So let's go back to Kaggle notebook. So first we use DeepSeek AI, DeepSeek R1 distill Q1 7B model. Then make sure you set the D type to float 16. You can set the API key, and you don't have to, but we set this for extra security. And also make sure you set up the tensor parallel size to 2. So this will enable the distributed inferencing. So equally split the tensors on 2 GPUs. And also you use the enforce eager. After that, you make sure you can also set the pipeline parallel size equals to 1. So the pipeline parallel size times the tensor parallel size, that has to be equal or less to the CPU that's available. So right now, we have 2 GPUs. So then this is 2, right? So then after that, make sure you also set the GPU memory utilization. So to maybe 0.9 or 0.95, and also the max model length to a bigger length. So this will enable the coding, because coding requires a lot of the context. So you need to set this as large as possible. So make sure this is the max model length is set. Then set trust for mode code equals to true. And also you can give an alias to a model. In this case, we just give the alias for DeepSeek R1 Q7B. You can give another model like DeepSeek Reasoner, something like that. But this is just alias you can set, and you can set in the Aider. We can show that later. And then you don't need quantization, and you don't need a CPU offload. If you own a local laptop or local machine, you probably need to set the CPU offload GB, and also set the size of it. So this is basically 2 gigs, but you don't have to set. It's gonna slow it down. On Kaggle, it's fine, but on the local machine, you might need to set it. But in this case, we do not set this in this video. So it will actually run pretty fast. So that's it. So then after run the VLLM serve, then you should actually spin up the model and then run on the port 8000. You can see it here. So that's all you set for the VLLM. So let's go to IDX to install Aider. So if you have not installed Aider, go to the Aider's documentation to install Aider. And so basically just have to do a pip install Aider chat. So this is a little bit confusing, but you just need to install Aider chat, and that's it. So let's go back to IDX. So as I mentioned earlier, we have set the alias for our model to test. So now first you have to set up the Aider and export the Open API key, which is the key that we set in the VLLM service. After that, you export this base, your API base. So it's the URL that we have spin up. You can see here. So this is one that we spin up. You cannot actually use it just doing a URL refresh, because there's a API key. So that's how you set the Open API base. After that, you can load the model. So just do Aider model and then OpenAI / the model name. So this is the model name we set in the service here. Okay, let's go back to IDX. So after that, you can hit enter. So we do not need to create any GitHub repo. So click no. Then you can see the model is OpenAI DeepSeek R1 Q7B, right? And then after that, we just need to use architect or coder to get started. So let's, for example, want to just do a coder, right? Then all we have to do is just to paste the prompt. For example, we can create a landing page for an AI company. We used to test this, and then we still use the same prompt to test Aider as well. So let's paste the question and then hit enter. So you can see this is very fast. And to check the logs, you can go back to Kaggle to check all the logs and see the CPUs are spin up. You can see the CPU used 97% and 93%. The GPU says 15 gigs each, right? And the total is 30 gigs for 2 GPUs, 15 each. So let's go to the logs. You can see that it is doing the reasoning, right? So let's go back to IDX. You can see it start writing the code. So create new file, yes. Okay, the file is created. Let's go to check out the file. So the landing page. Let's copy the file to HTML viewer. You can see this is excellent. It's very good. Features. Jump to the features section, and you could click send message. There's a fill out this required field, which is super nice. And this is how you actually use Aider with DeepSeek AI's distilled Q7B model, which works very well. And if you want to try Cline, so just use the same URL. If you have to have not installed Cline, just install Cline and just config Cline using the same URL, and also use the same API key, choose the OpenAI compatible provider, and paste in the model ID. So just if you have a custom instructions, you can paste that in, and then click done, and you can create your Cline rules also. And let's try to test it quickly. So you can see Cline also works very fast. So you can just copy this command and just paste it in the task, right? Hit enter. So you can see this also works very well and it's super fast. So that being said, hopefully this is helpful. If you do like this video, please subscribe, like, or comment if you have any questions. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and see you in the next one.